defines depression? Depression is actually a prolonged series of sadness that the people have felt during like the weeks, months, and years that have gone by. And with that information, people who are depressed like have a loss of appetite, like they don't want human interaction, like they just lose like motivation to do stuff like going to school, just going out in general, and also like people with depression also suicide a lot actually, and that's why like it's one of like the top 10 mental illness that kills hundreds and thousands and maybe even millions of people every year. With that, in this speech, I will be covering like the history of it, and is it inherent? Is it by like the environment, like your lifestyle, and how you can like see if someone really is depressed and how to help them. So like the history of depression. Depression was actually found in 500 AD, and it was actually called melancholia by many philosophers. And many philosophers, popes, priests, and church in general believed that depression was an act of God and an act of like the devil, because they believe that you're like this today because you have sinned in your previous life, which is why like, you're suffering now. And that's why like many people with like mental illness or depressed, or even like you have like 11 fingers, was treated badly all the way until the 1600s. In 1621, there was a man called Robert Burton, and he was like the one that actually wanted people to get better, like mentally. And he was the one that actually said that, hey, if you have like depressed, you should go and get some medical treatment, therapy, get married, get kids, a new job, and just like try to get your mind off of it. And people, of course, actually some people listened to him, but then again, like at that time, like the church was like a big thing, and they were in power, and because of that, they saw that like the mental illness was not getting better, and that's why like they started treating people badly, like in the movie like The Greatest Showman, it showed that like people with like mental or like disabilities were like treated badly, like they were considered freaks, and so like that's what actually caused like the the amount of like illness people have until now, and the mistreatment went from like 80 all the way until the 19th century. Actually, no, like the 20th century, and that's when people started to like realize that, hey, like it's not because of God, it's actually because like there's something wrong with them. So like that's why we should create these programs to help them, and that's how mental illness actually has a hospital, and how depression is now getting prescribed by doctors to have like these like pills to like help them out, have like these like pills that make you happy, help you sleep more, and stuff like that. And so moving on to the next topic is depression inherent or is it not? A group of British research team actually took 400 people, and then they tested them, and they came to the conclusion that people with depression actually have this like special gene, and it's called 3p25-26, and people with that gene tend to have depression. And I think they also said that like around 42% women actually inherit depression over like the 29% men. like that. Excuse me. But that doesn't define the fact that like men don't get like depressed. Like they actually do, and they actually get depressed over like their holy shit. And they actually get depressed over like their like lifestyle, like losing a job, because like they back then like they do provide like the money for like the family. So like if they lose like their job, then like, they lose their house, their money, and then their wife and children. And that was like a big thing, and it's still a big thing now because men do suicide more than women. And on that fact, and it's actually because of your environment that you are depressed. Like say that one day like you're like 25, you owe so much loans that like your car gets like towed, or and then you lose your job, and then you lose your apartment, and then your mom and dad just kick you out because like they just think that like they can't really help you. That can cause one to be like really depressed and just like feel like lonely inside, sad, and to the point where like they ask themselves like, what's the point on living if like I'm just sad? So that's like one of the main reasons why like actually like adults suicide, because of like their life. But with teenagers, like it might be because of like someone died in their family, like their parents divorced, or like they lost like a mom and dad. Like all these things make depression worse. And then and another thing that I want to hit on is how to like know if someone is depressed or not. Doctors have said that people with depression actually have a lot of panic attacks. They have mental breakdowns. Like they actually try to OD, and like their cuts are actually deep and near like the veins that actually matter. And when like you see that, like I'm pretty sure like you'll know if like they're like depressed compared to like the people that just be like, hey mom, I'm depressed, so I'm gonna stay home and do nothing. So that's like the two main difference between like the serious one and like the other one. And like the serious one do like cause you to be like, you know, like wanting to die. And one way that you can help someone cope with that is just like the feeling of knowing that someone is there for them. Because like what's worse is going day by day knowing that someone like doesn't care about you, compared to like having like one or two people that actually like know and care of like how you're doing. So that concludes like this speech, and I just want to say that because of depression, you should always like look out for people, and depression isn't really like a cycle that or a stage that someone goes through. Like when like someone is depressed, like they do have like a series of sadness that they've been like feeling, and it causes them to like not want interaction, lost motivation, and they just like don't feel like they're just wanted in this world. And that's like why I believe that it's not a cycle. Like it's actually like something that's serious that causes hundreds and thousands of deaths. So yes, that's